So pricketh them nature in their courages. Then longen folk to go on pilgrimages, and palmers for to seeken stranger strands, to distant shrines known in sundry lands. And especially from every shire's end of England to Canterbury they wend, the holy blissful martyr for to seek.
Greetings cats and kittens, welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. It's been a few weeks since I made a video, been under the weather for about a week and a half now with this cold, which is quite hard to shake off. But I wanted to make this video because on a particular theme, and the theme, if you've seen the title there, is the Canterbury scene. Now I'm not going to do an overview of the Canterbury scene albums. I'm going to show you four recent vinyl finds which are related to the Canterbury scene or the Canterbury sound. Well, the city of Canterbury, I don't think I've ever actually been to it. It's in Kent in southern England. I think I may have passed through it once when I was on my way to Dover and the cross-channel ferry. But in musical terms, there is a musical scene, came along in the late 60s and early 70s, and it's sort of associated with progressive rock, but I think there is a particular Canterbury sound which has definitely strong elements of jazz, modern jazz, improvisation, avant-garde, a kind of a witty lyricism to it, and also some elements of psychedelia. It definitely, even though it often gets kind of tagged with prog, it's not really your standard prog. It has its own sound. Now, bands in the Canterbury sound would include bands like Egg, of course, Caravan, Matching Mould, Robert Wyatt's band after the Soft Machine, and here's one of Robert Wyatt's most brilliant solo albums, Rock Bottom. But yeah, Robert Wyatt apparently hated the term Canterbury scene because he wasn't from Canterbury. He just happened to be, he went to school in Canterbury. But nevertheless, although it is a sort of a journalistic term, I think, as I say, I think there is a particular sound, and there are some bands still today making music in that kind of Canterbury sound, including this one, which a few people have been showing on the VC. This is an album from a couple of years ago by a band from Nottingham called Zop. And put this on, you know, contemporary album. It sounds very much like National Health, band that followed on from Hatfield of the North. So in these Canterbury bands, there were lots of interchangeable members, including Dave Stewart, not Dave Stewart of Annie Lennox fame, but Dave Stewart of Canterbury, of Egg, the band Egg, and then he went on to Hatfield of the North. But you know, if you look at the family tree of the Canterbury scene, it's very intertwined. Members like Richard Sinclair, Hugh Hopper, lots of different, Kevin Ayers, of course, as well. Even Mike Oldfield was part of Kevin Ayers' band at one time. So I'm going to show you four vinyl finds recently which are Canterbury related. I was really pleased to get this first one, which is Peel Sessions, Robert Wyatt's Peel Sessions. This is from around the time after Matching Mole broke up, and he was making his first solo albums, including the one I just showed a few moments ago, Rock Bottom. So this is from 1974, actually 10th of September 1974, and it was transmitted on the Peel programme on the 26th of September 1974. Now on here you get two songs from Rock Bottom, but very much pared down. Really lovely versions of Soup Song and Sea Song, and it really is just Robert on his own with a bit of overdubbing, piano, really, and some percussion as well. You also get his a version of I'm a Believer, the Neil Diamond Monkeys tune, which was a sort of a hit single actually around about 1974, And if you look on some old Top of the Popses, you'll see Robert Wyatt by then in a wheelchair. I think John Peel is in that that broadcast as well. So yeah, and also Ali Fib is on here. That's also from Rock Bottom. So 3 tracks from Rock Bottom and oh, Soup Song. No, I think that was from the next album that Robert Wyatt made. The Ruth is Stranger Than Richard. But yeah, great condition this one. On the Strange Fruit label, 12-inch, 4-track. Excellent to hear these sort of pared down recordings by Robert Wyatt on his own. Never really liked the cover design on these Peel sessions, but that's just a minor quibble. So the next one, a collaboration LP between Lol Coxhill and Stephen Miller called The Story So Far, So What. So this is the second of 2 albums that Stephen Miller and Lol Coxhill made, and they're on the Caroline label, which is an offshoot of Virgin Records. Of course, Robert Wyatt was recording for Virgin around about this time. So this is from 1974 also. Now, Lol Coxhill, his Canterbury connection is that he was played saxophone in Kevin Ayers' band, The Whole World. And Stephen Miller is the brother of Phil Miller, who was the guitarist in Canterbury band Hatfield in the North. So Stephen Miller is a piano player. Lol Coxhill, very much still respected improvising saxophone player. What I really like about these 2 albums that Lol Coxhill and Stephen Miller made is that they're not made as, you know, grand statements. They're very kind of improvised little snippets, almost like sketchbook quality, but they just have a lovely feel, very much as kind of mid-70s British Canterbury, light-hearted improv, very jazzy, but excellent. Really happy to find this as well. Not that difficult to find, but not that popular either at the same time. And I think the 2 albums they made together are very, very underrated. And I do recommend also Lol Coxhill's more recent recordings, improvised British jazz. Now the next 2 records, This first one's by one of the giant figures of the Canterbury scene. Of course, he was in the Soft Machine in their very early incarnation, the great late Kevin Ayers. Now, this is an album on Harvest. He did record for Harvest, and I believe apparently there's a new remastered version of his first solo album, Joy of a Toy, coming out in January, which I'm going to definitely pre-order. But this is a compilation of singles and radio session tracks called Odd Ditties. And if you're a Kevin Ayers fan, it's essential really, because it does include tracks that were recorded for some of his albums but never were included. Like Soon, 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 which I'll probably do a needle drop of. Puige, which is a French version of May I, which is in English on one of his albums. Stranger in a Blue Suede Shoes, a single. Jolie Madame, which was recorded for the fantastic Whatever She Brings We Sing album in 1971. Looking at some of the lineup on here, we've got Lol Coxhill, Kevin Ayers, of course, on vocals and guitar. Mike Oldfield, The Ladybirds, David Bedford, Richard Sinclair from Caravan, Richard Coughlin from Caravan as well. So definitely sort of almost like a who's who of Canterbury and beyond. But that's Odd Ditties, an album I used to have many years ago and you have just recently found a nice copy of on the Harvest label. Finally, I am a bit of a Caravan completist, but I will admit that in the 80s they weren't making their finest music. So this is Caravan, the album from 1980. By this point, Caravan had lost their deal with a major label and they went on to, which label is it? Kingdom Records. This is from 1980. And, you know, when you think of the lovely cover art that they had on some of their earlier albums on DRAM, just look how awful this cover. I know it's meant to be sort of generic and the album, but I think Caravan by this stage were feeling the pressure of the new wave and were recording shorter, more snappy songs. It's a shame that Richard Sinclair is not on this album. Apparently he just left before it was recorded. And so you lose that sort of whimsicality of Richard Sinclair's vocals and lyrics, and some of the lyrics are really quite banal on here. Caravan make the terrible move of rhyming dancing and romancing, and also they do a bit of sort of cod white reggae on here, which really doesn't work very well. One or two nice tracks, and some, you know, the playing is of course, you know, impeccable, because they, you know, Caravan were a bunch of very accomplished musicians, but the inspiration is a bit short on here. But anyway, glad to have it. They did make a better album a little bit later on this same label. But yeah, for completists only, I would say Caravan, the album from 1980. So that's it. That's the four records I wanted to show that I bought recently, which kind of tie in with the Canterbury scene. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching, and bye for now.
What do you care about bluffing people, throwing sparrows from the treetops? What do you care